That's honestly one of the biggest nerfs to solo DMZ that we've seen. We saw a buff and we saw a nerf, but that is such a huge nerf. Holy crap. Today's day 1 of season 2 for the DMZ, and we found out a bunch of new stuff that wasn't in the patch notes, weren't really explained to us. We just found out about them because we just, stumbled upon them. And you know what? Some are really good, you guys. And just like the beginning of this video, it was a little spoiler because some are really terrible and I'm not happy with the changes at all. But I promise you there are good and bad ones in this. We have about 8 to 10 in this video. I'm going to quickly try to go through them as fast as I can, but I do want to explain some of them because they are really cool. The first one's a sad one. You know what? We're going to have to talk about it though eventually. So let's start with this one. Room 302. It's boarded up. The hotel, 302, how you always get in here. And yeah, it gets boarded up if it's a stronghold. But as you can see in my top left here on the map, it's not a stronghold. It's just boarded up now. Super sad. There was always those 2 rooms you can drop into, get the juicy loot with the orange crates. But don't worry, if you are wanting more of these types of rooms, subscribe to the channel. It's free for you guys. It means the world to me. I'm going to be posting videos, replacing this for sure, this area for sure. So it is definitely sad, but it's just not the end of the world. We can find better, I promise. And actually, speaking of better, we actually have an extra train on Al Mazrah now. So yes, we have the normal train right here that goes clockwise, but on the opposite track, it's actually a passenger train now going the other way. And this train's awesome, I have to tell you. It is fantastic. It has so many loot crates, I feel like at least more than the OG train. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I just feel like this new passenger train has so many more. Now, the downside of the passenger train is there is no guaranteed orange crates on this. There is always guaranteed orange crates on the normal train. This one, it's not always there. But I don't know what it is. It feels like I'm looting like 25 crates whenever I get on this thing. I don't care if they're not like the epic ones. They just feel like they're filled with such good loot, even if they're just the common crate. I don't know. I really just like this train. They have little cubby holes that you can hide in. So when you do hear other people on this, it's going to be interesting fights. Yeah, I'm all for it. And I'm really happy they added a second train. A lot more loot on the map now. You can say that, like a lot more. I was trying to remember at the start of DMZ, I'm pretty sure you were able to do this, but then they changed it later on. But either way, in season 2, you can now take stronghold key cards out of raid. You can put them with the rest of your keys if you want. You can get rid of them. You can do whatever, but they do extract with you now. It is something small, but it's just nice little like, hey, it should have always been like that. This one's definitely a noodle scratcher for me. Building 21 is still locked. Like it still has right now 39 hours until you can play it. And it just doesn't make sense to me really, because they even said now some of the tasks are going to require you to go to building 21. But like if you get those tasks, you might have to wait 40 hours or 48 hours or something, right? Like, I don't know. It hasn't changed. It's still the same as season 1, but it just doesn't really make sense to me. What do you guys think? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Another thing that didn't ever make sense, but it was just fun. It was just like, it was definitely video game-esque and it was just a blast, was the fact that you can parachute down to the extract helicopter, get to the top and not die to the blades. But now they actually fixed that, which is understandable. I get it. It was just always fun to do it, but now you die to the blades. And I also heard actually that if you hang off the side, you fall. Like you can't go on the side of the helicopter, but I tested that also and it's fine. You can get to the side if you want, lay down, do whatever, and you can still extract. We all knew the jet ski was getting added, but we didn't know how cool it was actually going to be. Like you look super cool when you're on a jet ski. So this is just a quick, couple of seconds here to appreciate how cool you look. So I haven't seen all the new items, but I have come across the AFAC. I know there's an IFAC, and then there's also like this large medical bag that just got added. And it just kind of feels, to be honest, it feels empty, right? It really does feel empty. Now, the reason it does is because there's no crafting system. So all these items are 4 currently, are probably for some fetch quests that you need to do later on down the road. So you need to collect so many IFACs or AFACs, and then you're pretty much done with those items. Like, yeah, you can make money from them, right? But I'll explain later on down the road why money actually doesn't matter as much as it used to. But right now, I just feel like them adding all, you know, some new items, it's just kind of, it feels empty. Like, I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? I just feel like them adding these fetch quest items, maybe, yeah, I'm just fingers crossed that, you know, all these items are in there, because later on down the road, you're going to be able to craft, say, self revives in raid or out of raid, and you need like a certain amount of IFAC, AFACs, and some other stuff. So, you know, if that's what they're aiming for, awesome, I get it, then I'll wait. But if they're not planning on doing a crafting system and they're just adding these mundane fetch quest items, yeah, ugh, you know, just blech. So a huge shout out to 2 community members, Pinky and the Sound of Violence, for sending me this video over, and it all has to do with the insured slots, you guys. So in season 1, to get insured slot number 2, you had to complete all 3 story missions at tier 3. And it was pretty difficult, I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of people came down to the wire and just got it at the end of season 1. And I'm happy to tell you guys, if you didn't get the insured slot number 2 on season 1, you're definitely going to get it on season 2, because it is a lot easier. Instead of completing all 3 story missions for tier 3, all you have to do is complete the story mission for tier 1 Black Mouse. And I think that's very doable. I think a lot of people here, if you don't have the insured slot number 2, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it, and good for you. Now, now the insured slot number 3 was a lot more difficult to get. I'm pretty sure it was just you had to complete any tier 5 story mission, and it is still like that. But actually, they added a little spice to it, and it is the way I thought it was gonna be. So, you know that new faction, the Crown, where you need to purchase the game to get it? Well, if you complete the tier 3 story mission with the Crown, you're gonna unlock the insured slot number 3. But if you don't have the game, you're gonna have to just do it the good old fashioned way and complete 1 story mission for one of the tier 5 story missions for the other 3 factions, which is quite difficult, I won't lie. Another thing they changed about the insured slot is actually the cooldown of them all. So on season 1, the cooldown was 2 hours, 4 hours, and then 6 hours for these tiers. But now they recently changed it. It's now actually 1 hour, 2 hours, and 3 hours. And I don't know how to feel about this, you guys. Like, in a sense, it's an extract royale. I feel like I get it. It's more of like an arcade extract royale. Like, it's more of a streamlined version. But at the same time, it just also makes the contraband guns feel kind of useless, because you're always probably going to have your insured slot guns. And if you don't, it'll take you probably like 1 raid for them to get off a cooldown, because you probably dead drop money or you extract with some money. And I don't want to poo-poo on the parade, right? I always try to think of, you know, the casual gamer and the hardcore gamer. I would have probably liked to see like 2, 3, and 4. You know, I feel like that would have been a little better. But you know what? Hey, let's try it out. What do you guys think? I honestly legit want to know your opinion on this cooldown, because I just kind of feel like it just makes the contraband weapons a little more useless, because you're always going to have one. And then I also feel like whenever you come up against another player, they're going to have their modded out gun. It's not like they're going to have some random gun that they just got from some AI. Like, the chances are they're going to have a very good modded out weapon. And I like the fact that sometimes you just went up against people with jank, you know what I mean? Like some janky guns. But I don't know, it's only day 1. Like I said before, this is only day 1, so let's just see how it plays out. But I thought I'd tell you guys. Another thing that's really cool is actually that dog tags now have different values. So we still have the bronze $2,500 one, but today we saw a $25,000 one, and I just got word from one of the community members that they just spotted a $50,000 one out in the wild. And I don't know how they become so expensive, we're not sure. I'm trying to talk to community members. No one's really answering because, again, it's day one. We're all just guessing, and that's kind of what's fun about day one. But if I was to guess, I would say it has to do with how many people they killed that raid. Or I think the cooler thing would be how many, like what their win streak is. So if they're at, say, like 10 plus win streak, their dog tag's worth, say, 50,000, and it's kind of like one of those trophies where you're like, yeah, I got him. Like, I just ruined that person's day, you know? It's kind of a neat idea, but we still haven't figured out the correlation yet, but I'm sure we'll figure it out in the next couple of days here. Remember how I started off the video with this clip? That's honestly one of the biggest nerfs to solo DMZ. Well, let me explain to you why I said that. If you have multiple self-revives on you and you use one up, you actually have to go into your inventory after you use one and equip the other ones. Now, I know what you're saying, Geekseh. It makes sense because you always had to do it with the self-revive pistol. Yeah, I know what you're saying, right? If you used your self-revive pistol and you had an extra one in your backpack, you had to equip it. But that makes sense because it's a field upgrade and there's multiple field upgrades, so I get that. But with self-revives, it goes in a slot that only self-revives go into. So instead of auto-equipping from your backpack, you now have to actually go into there, equip it, and then you'll have it again. And you know what? A lot of people won't really care too much. You know, it's not a big deal to them. But for solo DMZ players, it's huge because if you get into a pickle, you know, you're getting sprayed by tier 3, tier 2 guards, and you're self-reviving and you use both your revive pistol and your self-revive up and you're trying to run away and say you just get clipped again, you're done for. I know it sounds dumb, but you know, self-revives and revive pistols are the bread and butter of us solo DMZ players, and I play mostly 90% solo, so it's just there's a lot of good things about this patch, but there's a lot of bad things, and that is probably my biggest gripe. I wish it wasn't like that. I really do. I do know that this video was a little longer, but I hope you know I put a lot of effort and time into these videos, so it took me like 5 hours to do this video. Actually, I think it's something like 5 hours, you know, for the thumbnail, the editing, everything, and I hope it shows at least, right? So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Listen, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's free for you guys. It means the world to me. We're coming up here on 100,000 subscribers. It's actually a dream for me. So please, you know, support the channel any way you can. Also, I want to know what your favorite or least favorite thing about this update was, right? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Like, what didn't you like about it? Stuff like that. Just tell me in the comments below. I always love to hear feedback about this kind of stuff. And until next time, I'll talk to everyone later.